Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the panel, and distinguished delegates at this conclave, my thanks to India today and my greetings to all of you. We are in the community session of this India Today conclave, and we are having under our consideration a grave problem of great significance. Can we overcome the fault lines? As you all know, greatness of India, as also its biggest challenge, lies in the multiple character of the society. India is multi-religious, multicultural, multilingual, multi-ethnic. There is a great diversity with as many as 6 or 7 major religions, hundreds of castes and subcastes, a large number of languages, and innumerable dialects. An important point to be noted is that India is home to people with not only diverse, but also contradictory faiths, beliefs, ethos, rituals, and practices. But this multiple character of our society need not deter us. This multiple character, on the contrary, is a great asset. It need not deter us. We cannot lose sight of the host of common, inspiring relationships that we have among us. A host of common, inspiring relationships there are among us. In a brief talk, it is not possible to have any long discussion on them. To cite a few, we have, for example, the common relationship of the love of the homeland. The common relationship of the love of the homeland. Every one of us is endowed with the love for the homeland. Breathes there a man with soul so dead, who ne'er to himself has said, "This is my own, my native land." This love for the homeland has produced great and significant contributions to our country. Muslims too have made such unique contribution along with others as to get worldwide acclaim. Now, a question does really arise. Despite this love for the homeland, there was a division of the country. Despite this love of the homeland, there was a division of the country. But by now it is very clear that this division was the logical consequence of the attitude of intransigence on the part of some leaders with respect to the most legitimate constitutional question of the position of minorities in free India. However, my appeal will be not to be bogged down by the past, but we all must be forward-looking. Then there is the common economic relationship with its inevitable reinforcement of interaction at all levels. People of different hues interact. They interact as producers and consumers. They interact as buyers and sellers, traders and artisans, employers and employees, operating in the same market, irrespective of any consideration of class, caste, or creed. Ladies and gentlemen, this great unifying factor must have its full and free play without any hindrance and without any class barriers. For example, the barriers like social boycotts, economic boycotts, denial of or discriminatory denial of licenses, etc. Let this great unifying factor have its free play so that the process of a grand national life continues. Then there is the common constitutional relationship. We are fortunate to have the finest constitution of the world. Our constitution, the Indian constitution, welds all the social groups into a political community. A strong nation with political unity in diversity. The Constitution assures all justice, liberty, and equality. Accordingly, our Constitution makes certain specific provisions and sanctions internationally recognized policies of state interventions in order to ameliorate the conditions of those who are depressed, in order to ameliorate the socio-economic condition of the deprived and the distressed, and to bring them into the mainstream. Otherwise, the burden of the deprived will, Allah forbid, pull down the entire nation. It is unfortunate that some leaders of our times have failed the founding fathers of the Constitution. Muslims today suffer from appalling economic and educational deficiencies. To term governmental intervention for the amelioration of the socio-economic condition of the depressed as minoritism or appeasement of minority is flying in the face of facts, is inhuman and is cruel. None can turn a Nelson's eye to the dark, pathetic, unjust situation. Can I see another's woe and not be in sorrow too? Can there be anyone to deny empowerment to all sections of the society, including the depressed, including the deprived, including the lower layers of our society? It is difficult, inhuman, and cruel to think that such a situation can persist. But even a count of the disadvantage, in order to assess the gravity of the deprivation, for example, the count of the Muslims in army, in police, in other services, is being objected to, when it is the scientific statistical data which is necessary to identify policies and determine the targets. We have therefore to look at the entire situation with respect to the ground realities that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, our Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, language, and culture. Muslims have full faith in their own divinely revealed eternal personal laws as being productive of an ideal, balanced, clean and virtuous society. None can have a superior right, a higher right to steamroll all these diversities into one cultural tradition. That will be the negation of the secular state that we have and to which we stand committed. The concept of a uniform civil code is a concept which can be applicable only to non-religious civil laws. Otherwise, it is a negation of the freedom of religion. It will become the greatest disintegrating force because it will affect all the communities and the innumerable tribes that we have in India. Humanism and civilized behavior rule out a phenomenon of hatred, rancor, and intolerance. Hatred campaigns have already reached the dreaded proportion and form of genocide of the hapless minority. shocking instances there are, which reveal that there is no limit to man's inhumanity to man. This has to end. The rule of law must prevail. Authorities must act with impartiality and justice. Therein lies, in the breach of these lies, in the breach of observing impartiality, in the breach of the state authorities observing justice, in the breach of all this lies a vicious fault which must be, fault line which needs to be overcome. I'll just take a few more minutes. There is also a fascist tendency these days to present Islam and the Muslims in the worst possible colors, that they are narrow-minded, that they are conservative, that they are violent, that they are terrorists, and so on and so forth. Let the mist be cleared. As Blake has said, you throw wind, you throw sand against the wind. You throw sand against the wind, and the wind blows it back again. It is not religion that inspires terrorism. Terrorists are inspired by the fascist injustice of the situation or by political motives. Islam, as its very name suggests, means peace. It means peace. The Holy Quran proclaims the entire mankind in this world to be one international family. What greater, what finer principle of peaceful coexistence can there be? I'll just take a minute or two of yours, distinguished delegates, because it is necessary to clear the mist, as I've said. According to the Quran, every individual, because he belongs to the family, the international family, is honored. It is Quran, verse 17, ayat 70. The taking of any life wrongfully is forbidden. Quran, verse 17, ayat 33. There is no compulsion in the matter of religion. No compulsion in the matter of religion. Quran, Surah 2, ayat 256. To you, your religion, and to me, my religion. Ending all confrontation. That is the principle. Quran, Surah 6, ayat 107, and then again Surah 49, ayat 11. Life and property of all is secure. The killing of even one is considered by the Quran as the killing of the entire mankind. Surah 5, ayat 32. Islam enjoins that there shall be justice under all circumstances. Quran, Surah 16, ayat 70, and again Surah 7 and ayat 29. One is not to transgress justice even in one's hatred of the enemy. That is Quran, Surah 5, Ayat 8. There is a strong code of conduct, even in the legitimate warfare. Women, children, old, infirm, priests and non-combatants cannot be harmed. After the victory of Khaybar, the Battle of Khaybar, some soldiers found killing the animals of the Jews and also ate fruit. The Prophet, peace be upon him, disapproved of the act and termed it as not halal, as not permitted. I'll be concluding right now. Now there may be Muslims who may not be up to the high mark, to the high moral standards, but adherence to Islam overcomes the fault lines. Ladies and gentlemen, Muslim India, plural India is a great India. It is a sovereign democratic republic. Relations between individuals and relations between communities are not shaped by oppression, imposition, or might, but they are the result of justice, civilized norms, and peace. To conclude, the subject requires further elucidation, but in deference to the chairman and the time allotted to me, I must conclude. We, the people of India, are aboard the same ship, irrespective of our class, caste, or creed. We all share the same common destiny to ride out the storm for the safety of the shores. Thank you all.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished panelists, I will first like to divide the subject in three parts. First, why the fault lines exist. Second, how these fault lines manifest themselves in India. And finally, what can be done to overcome these fault lines. In India, these fault lines exist at the core, largely because Hindus' spiritual authority is within India, while Muslims and Christians, their spiritual authority is outside India. And when there is a clash between secular